Good morning, everybody. It is another Friday morning, 8 a.m. Central Time. So many of you guys might still be in bed at the time of this recording. But if you guys are just now tuning in, I see we have quite a few people joining on here. We are in for an 8-hour straight mastermind today. So if you have ever considered getting a virtual assistant, or you just want to know what other agents in the industry are doing with virtual assistants, this 8-hour mastermind is going to be for you. Many of you guys always watch me do Facebook Lives every single week about best practices, but I wanted to do something a little bit different where we're going to be bringing in some of our top 20 people that are using virtual assistants every single day in their business. Because while I have a lot of good tips and tricks for you, these are the people that are actually out there implementing the exact things that we teach, and plus much more that they've discovered on their own, or things that they've already had in their business that they had a VA take off their plate. So with that being said, today's kind of format is we're going to interview over 20 people at about 30 minutes a piece, so it could run closer to 10 hours. If you guys are watching this and you're like, Justin, I don't got 10 hours, totally fair. That is why we've built it in a way where it's been streamed to all of our different platforms. So you can find the recording of this on any of our Facebook groups that you're a part of. You can find it on our YouTube channel, just search Justin Nelson, or you can find it on my personal Facebook page. There really isn't a place that you can't find this recording. So with that being said, guys, the format's going to be pretty straightforward. Every single person we bring on the show are going to be asked pretty much the same three questions. As number one, give a little bit of background about your time in real estate or what you're kind of doing in your business. Number two, we want to learn when was it that they knew that they needed to explore the options of a virtual assistant. And then number three, we really want to dive into what are they using a virtual assistant for? Because even though we're all real estate agents, we all run massively different businesses. And actually, our first guest today is in the real estate industry, but not even in the agent game as much himself. So we're going to talk about how these VAs can be used in not only just one specific manner. So with that being said, I am going to welcome Beau to the show this morning. Hey, Beau, how are you this morning?
All right, doing well. 6 a.m. here in Henderson, Nevada. So I'm an early riser. I've been up for about an hour and a half already. So
I like it. I
yeah,
like it, man. I was like, man, I don't know if Beau know what time he chose, but hopefully he's ready to go at 6 a.m.
yes, yes. So
I love it, man. I love it. Well, I obviously know all about you. I'm going to put the caveat on this little section here that Beau actually has, he's in the top 5 for having the most virtual assistants within Sphere Rocket's program. So, Beau, I'm going to turn it over to you, man. You don't do the conventional real estate agent game, which is kind of why I love to start off with you. So I would love to kind of have you share a little bit more about your background, what you're up to these days, and then we'll kind of dive into what you got your VAs doing for you.
sure, cool. Well, thanks for having me. I've been in the real estate industry, believe it or not, for 23 years.
Wow.
I'm 43 years old. So I started at 20. I started as a telemarketer for a mortgage brokerage. And I started doing really well on the phones. And then I realized, well, I'm making all these loan officers money. So then I got my license to be a loan originator for residential loans.
Okay.
I got into hard money lending and started making loans to investors a couple years into my career. And then I said, oh, I could start flipping houses. Started flipping houses during this time as well. I got into selling houses as an agent, actually. I'm a California broker. I'm also a licensed Nevada salesperson. Still active, but that's just something I do for a side hustle. Occasionally when something falls on my lap, I'm gonna make the commission, right? Of course, right? And that's the beauty of real estate and being an entrepreneur is that the more time you can free up when those opportunities come around, you can seize those opportunities. Like I just made a $13,000 commission for selling a new home, right? So there's those opportunities out there, and that's why I love VAs because it frees up your time, right? It frees up your time to do money making activities. And so I've been outsourcing and delegating for many years, but actually I think it kind of clicked when I came over to your group because your training really clicked with me, and it kind of took me into a different trajectory with my VA business, using VAs to grow my business. and to make my life better, right? Because the idea is you get a VA not to create more jobs for yourself, but essentially what we do is we create different SOPs, right? Standard operating procedures, and then we have our VAs implement those strategies. And early on in my career, when I didn't really understand that you need systems and SOPs, my success with VAs was marginal. But as you really kind of define these things, your business starts growing. For example, one of the things I've implemented was a big YouTube podcast strategy, and now I'm getting, I would say, 7 to 10 booked calendar appointments a week just from my YouTube strategy.
Wow.
And so people are watching my videos, they're clicking on my calendar link and booking a call, and then I'm getting instant, business and potential clients for future business. I've also implemented different revenue streams within my business because now I have more time. I can think a little bit more about how I can use my assistants to create different revenue streams. For example, one of my assistants does all my editing, and she also builds commercials. So I have a lot of affiliate products
Gotcha.
that I might recommend to clients. And so I have different partners. I have different revenue streams within the real estate industry. So today, my core business is commercial real estate finance. So I finance properties anywhere from 100,000 to 30 or 40 million dollars, preferably larger deals. But I do like to still help the newer investors.
Mhm.
I work with a lot of real estate agents because real estate agents and commercial brokers, what do they need? They need a solid guidance on how to get their clients funded, right? Because that's the most important thing. If they can't get the funding, especially in commercial, it really comes down to knowing what's out there and what financing is. So really, every day I'm learning something new. Every day I'm implementing a new strategy for my virtual assistants to grow, and just the basic tools of the premise of what Justin and his team teach about using Slack and using Asana. I mean, it's not rocket science, guys. It's not rocket science. It just follow the instructions and just
Yeah.
tweak it a little bit to your business, and then keep growing. What else can I implement? What else can I implement? And the big problems I see with most people getting started is they don't clearly define initially what they want to do, right? They don't say, these are what I want to do, and then start building an SOP around those items. And Justin probably has at least 80% of those SOPs already built that you can kind of hack. So if you're a real estate agent, especially, there's more SOPs. Where I've kind of taken his SOPs and created my own SOPs. And so if most of us here are real estate agents, so one big game changer is getting a podcast for yourself, getting
Mhm.
out there, creating value for people. It's amazing now that people just say, hey, I've been watching your YouTube, right? I've been watching and like learning about financing. And that's kind of an ego stroke, right? Because they call you and they want advice. They own their first rental property and they want to get up to 20 rental properties. They want to become financially independent. So I get a kick out of that. So, ultimately, when I become completely financially free, I'll just do this for fun, right? Because it's fun. It's fun helping people get financially free, and that's what I essentially do.
I love that, man. So talk to me a little bit about because obviously you had one VA prior to joining up with us and using some of our virtual assistants that we placed with you. And then you got several. What was your very first VA used for? Even if it didn't work out super well and then it got better over time, what were you using that VA for? Because obviously now you're using it more for video editing, podcast, YouTube. What did you use that very first VA for?
So before I met you, I had one VA who I now don't have anymore because I changed the whole platform. But um, they were kind of an agency platform, I guess you would say, and she was very good. But when it comes down to it, I needed a full-time VA. She was 20 hours a week. Um, and I would use her for mostly for video editing, for creating PowerPoint presentations. I would do, I might get an idea, and kind of what we always talk about, Justin, is like, where can we get ideas, and then how can we quickly implement these ideas? Like, I might see a presentation on a loan product from ABC Bank. I send that presentation to my virtual assistant. I said, hey, let's brand this to us, rewrite it a little bit, put our own taste into it, and boom, now I have a 10-page PowerPoint, Boom, I go right into Zoom. I screen share. I do I record it. Boom, I just created a 20-minute presentation. Send that Zoom link to my virtual assistant, right?
Yep.
She then edits it, makes it look beautiful, because obviously I'm still working on my podcast background and lighting and everything. She edits it, created an intro, outro. She plugs in commercials during the right breaks. We get voiceovers done on Fiverr. And then she uploads to YouTube. She syndicates to Libsyn, which goes to iTunes and different other places. Before you know it, that one video is now evergreen, right?
Yeah.
That one video is going to be there forever. And that one video that took me 20 minutes and maybe 5 minutes of thought, maybe I'm all in my time, 25 minutes.
Yep.
And now that video could be potentially bringing me lead after lead after lead after lead after lead after lead. Now, times that by, I did 150 episodes in the last year and a half. Okay, now this year I'm going to do 200 episodes. Times the magnification of what you're doing, right?
Yep.
And so I kind of came up with this kind of thought process a couple of weeks ago. I said, the goal every day should be to touch 1,000 people. Between your YouTube video, your podcast, through your email messaging, through your texting.
Yep.
That should be your goal, people, whoever's listening. If you touch 1,000 people and then hone in and get those contacts and put them in your CRM and make notes. I never did that earlier in my career, like make notes and keep in contact. We also just recently implemented, I'm kind of jumping ahead, and I should actually jump back.
Go for it. I love it.
And then I just said, okay, well, I have this database now. We need to send them valuable information. How can we create like a simple newsletter to send to them weekly? So we just simply, we find the best, easiest apps in conjunction with, developing our virtual assistants, and then implement a strategy. So I said, okay, we're sending out a weekly newsletter to the list. Boom. Okay. What's the easiest way to do it? Okay. I'm going to use SendFox. Easiest way to create a newsletter. Created a SOP around it. Now every week, with very little effort, I get in front of, a couple thousand people with that.
Well, and here's one thing, Beau, that I really like about you is when I've seen you implement things, you have the understanding that if you did it yourself, if you did the newsletter, it might be 100% perfect. But what I've really loved about you is you've accepted that maybe a VA doing it is maybe 90% to your standards. And so what I love about that is you're willing to go put the action in first and let that virtual assistant improve and eventually get to 100% instead of being over concerned about it being perfect. Because I know when I first started watching you do the video editing, you were just, hey, just get it done. Let's go from no editing to some editing to now it looks like you guys really have it down pat of, there's really no question of how you're going to edit any video now.
Oh, exactly. I mean, now we do commercials, and now people that have colleagues of mine are asking me to do them for them. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to create a business around this, right? I'm going to create a business to make commercials for business owners, and I'm going to have my VA do it, and I'm just going to be like the front face, right? So once you understand the power of leveraging other people and systems, you can create multiple income streams. The problem with us as real estate agents, and to this day, I struggle with this, that you need to have a mindset. You need to have a mindset of a business owner. We get trapped in the day-to-day, and you're going to, even if you're crushing it, I have friends that are crushing it in mortgage lending and sales right now. And that's great, because you're not always going to crush it like you are right now, because the economy is going to change at some point. So what you do today is going to really be what's down the road. So you got to plant the seeds now, but having additional revenue streams, like if you look at people's business models as you're talking to them, like Justin's just not the owner of Sphere Rocket, right? He's also a real estate agent. He also is building a team. He's also building revenue share with EXP. All these things, because that's the way to become financially free eventually. So if you're listening to this, just think about, okay, these progressions we take. First thing is get your first VA. Okay. Start implementing. It's not going to be perfect, but before you get your VA, 2 weeks before, you should be ramping up. Your first thing should be brainstorming. This is the list of what I want them to do initially, but I'm going to only start them with these 3 activities. The second week, I'm going to do these 3. You don't bombard them with 100 things. They're never going to get it. The other thing I see, the biggest mistakes I'm seeing with myself and others, is that you expect this VA to understand exactly what you're writing. That you can't expect them to understand everything because it's coming from your mind and it might be not articulated correctly. So what you really need to do is devote 30 minutes a day to jumping on Zoom with your virtual assistants and going over things, having them ask questions, showing them on screen share different things, because you're not, these are people, right? They're not just some robot that is going to get what you're going to
Mhm.
do, right? So you got to understand, you have to be, you have to get the mindset that you are a leader.
Yep.
You're the CEO now. You have an employee or an independent contractor, right? But you have to understand that you have to harvest these crops, because sure, some have raw talent. A lot of them do have more talent than I ever will in a lot of things. But unless you understand how you can articulate and convey and create these scopes of work and standard operating procedures, you're never going to be successful with the VAs. If you can grasp that and constantly build on that, because this is like
Yep.
something that's a progression where people think, oh, I'm going to get a VA, it's going to solve my problems. It will, but you have to work at it.
Well, and I think the other thing, Beau, that I've really seen with you is you've really shown scalability, because I think a lot of people don't go and get, like, they've had an admin before that they were paying 3, 4, 5,000 a month. It was their first admin hire ever, and they felt like this pressure of all these dollars going out and not getting as fast of where they want to get. You've really shown. So, like, I won't have you disclose specific numbers, but like roughly, what would you say your average VA makes per month if you were to average it out among all your VAs?
Oh, like, yeah. So it's each VA probably makes an average. Yeah. So that's what is it like? Hold on, I can't do math. Like 450 a month
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah. So what I have on the screen here, which I want to touch on, is you talked about zero costing without exactly saying it. Like, you're doing commercials in the future for other people, and right now, if you were to do 10 commercials at $50 a pop, which may take your VA a few extra hours a week, that VA has now become free to you, right? You're now not paying that virtual assistant. And I don't think I talk about this enough in my business, is a lot of people don't realize I don't even pay a lot of my virtual assistants anything, because I lend them out for different services, like my social media manager. I let him do some side work for other people, which ends up covering his $500, $600 a month. And now I have the 35 other hours of my week free, right? And I think you've seen that, because that's how you've probably been able to go from one VA to two VA to three to, I don't even know, are you on number 4 and 5 with some business partners right now that I just
Yeah.
saw this past week?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. A lot of people don't get that. See, we're stuck in the employee mindset, guys. We're stuck in the employee mindset. You got to think like a business owner. Okay, go read the book, The E-Myth. Right, work on your business, not in your business. And I'm still doing this too. So I'm not, but I'm just telling you that, like, I study this stuff and I go, okay, I haven't hit my goals at age of 43. Instead of being frustrated and pissed off, you got to take action. Whereas, sometimes I see a young gun like Justin and go, wow, how did he get so much success early on? But then you like listen to him and you understand that he's spending hours and hours a day studying like systems and how to grow. And like, I remember we had a conversation about like Facebook marketing, and then like he just studied it and then, implemented it, right? Because that's what it takes to be a top dog or successful, right? Is to be able to like take an idea and take massive action and then implement. All right. And not every idea is going to work. And
Mhm.
sometimes 3 weeks later, you squash that idea. But
Yep.
those couple of those ideas are going to become, base hits and doubles. And some of them will be home runs.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, you got to understand the power of leveraging money, like, leveraging financing to create wealth through real estate, leveraging uh what is it, other people's, OPM is other people's money. I'm thinking other people's capital,
Yeah.
right? Like other people's, leveraging other people, right?
Yep.
That's how people become more successful, because if you try to do it yourself, it's never gonna I mean, you can get a certain level of success, but you need to outsource and delegate to really become ultra successful.
Absolutely, and that's actually, we actually refer to it as other people's time, OPT, and it's actually what we always make the joke, and they always say that you can't buy more time back. And so the only thing in the world is you can't buy more time for your life, and I actually disagree with that. Mark Zuckerberg, love him or hate him, has shown us very drastically that when you grow a big company like Amazon, Facebook, those companies aren't built with 1 or 2 people; they're built with people. And so I absolutely love that. So, Beau, it sounds like the number one thing that you've outsourced so far that's had the most impact is video slash social media touches, things like that. As you continue to grow, obviously that might change for you. Like, what are you doing with your second, your third, your fourth? Like, why
Sure.
so many VAs? Like, if I'm sitting on the outside listening to this right now going, what is he using all 4 or 5 for? Like, what's
Sure.
going on?
Okay. Yeah. So one is video editing, podcast editing, right? That's a full-time job for me because I'm creating 5 videos a week. That takes a long time to edit the right way and to syndicate out to the multiple channels, right? So that's one VA. That's, their job specifically. Sometimes they'll create a banner on YouTube or different things like that. That's their job. Then I have a lead generation VA, and this VA just builds lists. I have software where she'll go in and pull data of property owners. That's all she does, and she emails those contacts, and then does some ad hoc type jobs once in a while. But all day, I want to know. At the end of the day, I want to know how many people did you email, what are the responses, and then let's upload to the CRM, and so that's all she does. The third core VA. Um, the third core VA specifically does is like a generalist. They do the newsletters. They do they anytime somebody books a calendar appointment, it gets emailed to him. He puts in the CRM. He makes notes. He adds them to the newsletter. That's a system, right? That's a system. I also now, because I have a little bit more time for this VA, I also have them implementing a new strategy. So okay, there was a new brainstorm. Like I just said, that I am also an agent, but I don't participate. Like that's like a side hustle for me. I'm having them implement a strategy where it's basically taking just me a few hours on the setup side to create. We're basically creating lead generation funnels for new home sales in Las Vegas. And so then the idea is that I don't have much time, but I'm married now, and eventually I'm going to get my wife licensed. So I'm going to create a funnel, because what I realize is I really like selling new homes because it's really easy. You just go register your client. So we're creating a whole system to basically own all Google search for keywords for like new homes, Las Vegas, things like that. So I'm pretty good at SEO and YouTube marketing. I'll go back just so you know a little insight. When I first realized how powerful social media it was, YouTube and so forth, especially YouTube, 2013, I got a phone call and they said, "Hey, we would like you to cast for a TV show, right?" And I go, "What?" And I thought it was a joke. And then I pulled up the production company. This production company basically found me online, and they wanted me to cast for an HGTV house flipping show called Flip It to Win It. And they already casted everybody else. They needed one more team. So, anyways, I brought my team. I brought my contractor and business partner. We went and did a walkthrough, kind of like a vague production shot with this production company. We did the walkthrough. I crushed it because I'm a pretty good actor. And anyways, I was like, man, this was cool. It was my first acting experience. Well, it's reality TV. Anyways, 2 weeks later, I got the call that they casted it. They casted myself and my contractor for this show. And but the funny thing was, kind of circling back on the story. The funny thing was when I went and I saw the producer, he had a clipboard. On the clipboard was a video of me from a YouTube video, and that's how they found me, right? So that's when it's like, okay, the power of social media, guys. Like, if you're not using these free platforms, you're complete morons.
Yeah, I agree.
Period. Period. Unless you're financially free, then you're not a moron. But if you're up and coming, you're a moron if you're not using these free channels. LinkedIn, okay? YouTube, okay? Clubhouse app, guys, get on Clubhouse. I've gotten 3 or 4 leads in the last week on Clubhouse alone. Guys, you gotta know what's going on in the world. We're salespeople, guys. We got to be meeting people on Clubhouse. 2 weeks ago, I got on and I was talking to Grant Cardone. Right,
Yes.
that's how powerful this freaking app is. I pitched him an idea to raise money for my new startup that I have. That's the power of this. You can connect so quickly, even on LinkedIn. I have an automated prospecting system going on LinkedIn. I'm connecting with 30 to 50 people a day. On top of that, I also, when I need something quickly, I do a quick search. I message the bank if I'm looking to place a deal. Hey, can you do this funding? I've made so many strong connections on LinkedIn. It's ridiculous. And guys, I'm just giving you ideas. These are all things that you can create a scope of work around and have your virtual assistant doing daily for you. to grow your business.
Absolutely. And what I want to re-pound to people's brain is when they hear, wow, Beau must have all this crazy spin to have 5 VAs. And the reality is to have 5 VAs, you're spending roughly about $2,500 a month, give or take some dollars up or down, depending on bonuses and things like that. But that's insane, man. I almost guarantee you there's some people watching here that are like, Beau, I have an assistant for $3,000 a month that does none of what you just said at all, let alone specialize in it. So what are you most excited for, man? Like, I know you're obviously in massive growth mode with us right now, getting a ton of VAs. Like, what are some things you're not doing right now that you're going to try to implement and have the VAs do for you in the upcoming months, years?
Yeah. So I think I want to get better at, really outreach. So really kind of like narrowing down, because there's public data everywhere. For
Yep.
example, I use a software to pull multifamily and commercial property owners, right? Like it's public records, right?
Yep.
And this software has about 30% of these people's emails address, right? Like, so on a daily basis, we should be emailing 100, 200, 300 people a day, right? Multiply that by 7, multiply that by 50, whatever. You're making those outreaches daily. You're fine tuning these lists. You're figuring out other ways to connect. Can I find them on LinkedIn?
Yep.
Can my virtual assistant find them on LinkedIn? So I'm really excited about growing that. And then we just myself and another co-founder, we founded a company called findthebank.com. And the findthebank.com basically is basically taking commercial real estate lending, which is like really fractured, and we're helping investors find banks and local lenders, because there's about 13,000 small banks and credit unions out there, and about a couple thousand out of that group are actually active lending on commercial products. So, for example, one of my clients couldn't get a Fannie Mae loan to buy this 20-unit property in Knoxville, Tennessee, because they have certain guidelines. I simply used my proprietary directory that I use my virtual assistants to help me build this directory, identified a credit union partner, right? Got the client a 3.5% interest rate, which was phenomenal, fixed for 10 years, amortized over 25 years. Great terms for their first big apartment complex. They closed on this property for $1,275,000, and I made a $10,000 commission. Okay. Yeah. That's what and automating that process and the intake of information, and being able to systematize more, and then really just growing my marketing. I take it, the biggest thing is that whatever you do, I'm not in love with being a lender. I love talking about, I really like marketing, really. So the end goal is to, and I kind of like look at Gary Vee for this, is that we're media agencies first. So that's the shift in the mindset, is that we're a media company.
Yep.
And like, sometimes we doubt ourselves, but when I hear these people like contacting me about, financial real estate advice, because I've been doing it for years, and I'm giving these up and coming young people like an opportunity to like systematically grow their wealth, right? The little tweaks in life, like going into your first house as a house hack, right? Buying that as a fourplex, using FHA financing, so you only need 3.5% down. Like, these little steps can change the projection of people's lives, and that's what I do. And so that's where the game changer is going to be, is just getting my knowledge out there to more people. And I do that effectively through virtual assistants, and also helping people get the knowledge so they go out and get themselves a couple VAs so they can grow their businesses.
Absolutely. And that's what I love about you, man, is you've been willing to share with so many group members, because I know you've learned from them, and then vice versa. So I know that, everybody, when you have this mindset of helping other people create wealth, the wealth returns itself to you. So with that being said, as we kind of wrap up here, first, thank you so much for jumping on at 6:30 now in the morning out your time. And so tell people, where can they learn more about you? You're one of the few guests today that can probably actually like financially impact someone probably more immediately, should I say, through your services on the lending side. So where can they find you? I obviously see your website there. Is that the best place that they can
BeauEckstein.com. You can find more about me. You can book a call on my calendar. You can link to my podcast. You can get some, information about other services and my referral network. And that's the thing too, guys. It's like, you really got to work on your network too, right? Like, now Justin and I are, we know each other better. We're going to get to know each other longer and longer. And I can call them up and say, hey, like, how would you do this? Or guys, if you're a member already and you're not jumping on the mastermind calls, I want to be even more religious. I was on for like the first 2 or 3 months
Yeah.
exclusively. I've just been swamped lately, but get on those mastermind calls, ask questions. Like, you're learning from somebody that's got a lot of experience and quickly scaled his business. Like he quickly, he posts his results, what he's doing in production, not only in his real estate business and his referral business. And also I just hack some of Justin's ideas, right? Like I go, okay, like, okay, he's building a referral network for agents, right? And I had this idea before because I wanted, like, I work specifically in the investor niche, so I had built a domain name to make referrals to investor friendly agents nationwide. But like, if I use some of his techniques, I could actually leverage that, get my virtual assistant to get me, somebody, so I could get a referral. Hey, I'm looking to buy a commercial property in Texas. Great. Now I have Robert over there, and I can refer Robert deals, and I've just referred him a few buyers, right? And then all of a sudden, I'm licensed to get referral fees, and when those $6 million commercial buildings sell, I'm getting a 25% referral fee. That's huge, right?
Absolutely.
And so we're vertically integrating our business, and we're making it a business that's not just one dimensional. We're creating, multi spokes. Okay, you have a hub, like your main website's a hub, but you have all these marketing. I'm posting on Bigger Pockets. I'm posting on YouTube. I'm posting on Instagram, and it all comes back to the hub. It all comes back to BeauEckstein.com, so people could book a call. And also, guys, a big thing I wasn't doing in the beginning was CTAs, calls to action. As soon as I implemented the Calendly onto my YouTube channel, it was a game changer. Overnight, people are booking calls. You're like, wow, it actually works. I'm asking somebody, I'm giving good advice.
Yep.
If you want more information, book a call with me. And yeah, sometimes people are newbies and they're tire kickers, right? But a lot of those calls have been very, very fruitful and will become more fruitful as we build relationships. And also the thing is what is an average client, right? Break this down. Justin might sell one property in Tennessee to the client, but what's the lifetime earnings from just that one person? What is it? Is it, in the loan business, that could be 50 to 100,000 to $200,000 for one client over the lifetime of that relationship. You think like that, and it's a game changer. Sending birthday cards, sending like reminders to, hey, I love referrals. Simple, stupid stuff like that works, and you implement your virtual assistant.
Absolutely, man. No, you hit it on the head. Everything that if you guys are just joining in and you missed what Beau said, make sure you guys go back and watch the recording of it. Beau, like I said, is probably, I don't even know, man. I can't keep up with how many VAs you're hiring anymore. You and Shireen, every time I look around the corner, have a new VA. So Beau may have the most VAs in our entire organization. But man, I really appreciate your time. And if there's anything we can ever do for you, as always, let me know. But go out there and crush today, man. I really appreciate you jumping on with us.
Cool. Yeah. Share this video so I can put it on my website.
Definitely.
Eckstein.com/VA.
I'll send it directly to your virtual assistant because that way they can start chopping it for you.
Thank you so much. That'd be awesome.
Thanks, Beau.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey guys, Justin Nelson here. I just wanted to give you guys more information on where you can learn more about our services. If you want to learn more about our virtual assistants, you guys can just check in the links below in the description to learn where you guys can go and schedule a call with our team to learn all about what a virtual assistant can do in your business. And if you're looking for social media training, same thing below. You guys can go below and check out the links to our social media training, the latest and greatest things that we're up to. We'd love to have you a part of our Sphere Rocket Elite social media training, or we'd love to obviously help you find a rock star virtual assistant. With that being said, before we end the video here, make sure you guys like, make sure you subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next video.